Hi, it's Jerry from Strong Roots Farm. Today we're talking solar lights. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Are they worth it? Will they help you on your farm or homestead? I've got 4 different models that I've bought and had for over a year so that I could have a good test on them before I made a video. Today I'm going to show you each of these models. There will be links in the descriptions. I will show you what they cost, how bright they are. You will see actual footage today in the dark. So we're going to wait 2 hours till it gets completely dark here so you can see how bright they are and how they compare to actual electrical light bulbs instead of wiring. Should you go solar? Will these help if you don't have electricity? That's all coming up today. Stick around. Well, welcome back. Today we're talking solar lights. I'm sure you've seen them. You've seen the ads on Facebook. You've seen perhaps other YouTubers talk about these lights. First of all, I bought all these lights with my own money. Not one of these lights was a sponsor. Not one of them was given to me for free. I picked them all off of Amazon. So they're all to that one forum. I bought all 4 of these for different reasons. And I have my own opinion, and I'm going to show them to you all today. As we get started, we're going to talk about the barn-mounted one first. All right, well, we're going to go through this and go through these lights. What I would like you to do is to think about, as I show you the different lights, where you would use them, and comment below. So I'd like to hear comments about where you think a good place on your property would be for this, how you use them. If you use any of the solar lights that I'm showing today, please comment and let me know your experience with them so that it's just not my experience, because you are going to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly today, and I will be the negative to the ones that I've had problems with. Tell me your experience, or post me a link if you have another one that you really like. If you find an American-made one, I would really be interested in that. If you find something that's quality, share it with our viewers. We'd really love to see that. So let's get going. All right, well, there's these solar lights. We've all seen them, but I was intrigued. So I seen these lights. I saw how bright they were in the Facebook commercials, and we're outside, so it's a little bit windy as it gets dusk here, so we can look at these lights. And there's the very first light I bought about a year and a half ago. I was very impressed with it. It did shine probably 75 or 100 feet, very bright out here. We could see it all the way from the house, which is about 400 yards up that way. So it was very nice to have out here. I do have power in this barn, but the light that I was gonna put on this barn was $85, and I had to wire it and put it all in, and the power out here had to be redone. And so 2 winters ago or so, I put this one up thinking, okay, I can get light, and then later I'll fix the electric in this barn. Now the electric's all done and the light is bad. Very first issue with this light is, I think you can tell a little bit here on film, but it's bent down. It's almost actually parallel with the ground now, and it was up. So the very first complaint with these lights is that the bracing arm is very weak. With the wind and where it's at, this thing is about 20 feet tall up at the peak of this barn. Actually got in the bucket of the tractor with a ladder, very un-OSHA approved, and installed this with big lag bolts. I put back braces on the truss and everything. It worked fabulous for a good 8 months, and I was super happy with it. Came in the barn here to get out of the wind, but I was real happy with that light. I was really impressed with how bright it was. I was really impressed with the features on it, how it lasted. And basically I turned it on the feature that I wanted and I left it, which was it stays at like a 25 or 30% light kind of all the time, which was enough to back a truck around or walk and not run into stuff. It was just a nice low light, and it didn't bother the cattle, which were right here in this, on the other side of this barn. And so it was bright enough that we could see the cows, but not bright enough that it blinded anybody. And then when you would go up and get motion underneath of it, about 50 feet away from it, it would come on really bright. And I'll post the link to the exact light down below so you can see the wattage and that stuff. So I had this issue with it, right? It stopped working, got upset, got frustrated, actually went to Amazon, posted a negative comment, and then this happened. Within 48 hours, I got a message from the seller saying that they were very sorry. They are electronics. Electronics can go bad. They can get bumped around. And I understand that. I work in a manufacturing facility as an engineer. things happen with wiring. You know, whether it's a solder broke loose or whatever it was, they say they're having about a 2% fail rate. Whatever the email said, I kind of forget, but they sent me this nice email and they said, we will air freight you one very quickly. All we need is for you to confirm the model that you have. I didn't have that, but I just showed them the link from my Amazon order fulfillment little tag, and they sent me a new one for free, brand new. It's actually the upgraded model. They told me that the model's been upgraded. I have it in the shop. I will show you here in a little bit, and it's actually the one that's in the thumbnail, the picture of the box. And I'm going to install that this winter. What do I think you should do? I don't know. Here's the nitty gritty. It's about 30 bucks more than the one that I would have bought at my local electrical supply store that I always go to as far as lumens go. So if I would have had to run wire and do all that, and it's just 12 gauge wire. These are a 20 amp breaker from my local hardware store. And it's the same lumen would have saved me, I don't know, $30 or $40, depending at the time. I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna, go green. I don't really care about that stuff as much as some people, but I wanted to have it and not have to wire it. It seemed like a good idea. If the power went out, I still had lights. There's lots of pros to these things, especially if you're off grid. If you're off grid or you're trying to live on battery cells, these can be very beneficial. But I did have one fail. So maybe I'm the rare guy. They were very good and replaced it. But there you have it. I'm super happy with it when it worked. That's where I'm going to leave you with that one. That's the whole truth and no skewed opinion there. So you take it for what you want. But that is a good option if you have a place that has a barnyard with no electricity. These things do work. They do shine a lot of light when they work. The second type I bought is this light bulb looking one. It has a little 4x6 solar panel. You might be able to see the cable there that goes outside. I put it on the south side of the barn here. Like I said, before electricity was fixed in this barn, we built this pen. We wanted to have pigs, but I needed a light at night because I didn't want these pigs in dark all the time, okay? So these things have features of 3, 8, and 5 hours on them. They have a little nice remote. The very first one of these that I bought, I put in my mobile chicken tractor for the winter. One, if we wanted to go in the dark and collect eggs or catch a chicken, it was nice to have a light. But we would go out in the evening and turn this light on with a 3-hour mark around 4 o'clock, and it would give them an extra hour of light. But if you haven't seen our chicken coop, I will post that link down in the description as well. But it's a platform, it's a coop within a coop essentially. So they have a ramp with an automatic door inside the tractor. And so that light was in there and it helped us maintain safety for our chickens in the dark at night. So they would see the light, they would go up in, the automatic door would close. It just ensured that they were in there a little bit more without us having to check them every night. So there's your light, it does work. I've had 4 of these now. I've got one at the pig pen. I've got one on the mobile chicken tractor. I've got one in here for the pigs still. The negative with these are when the battery runs dead, it resets. So if the solar battery in that light resets, you have to physically turn it back on with this little remote or it'll stay off all the time. It's nice for a chicken coop. You come out in the evening, you collect your eggs, you check your chickens, you turn it on. I put little Velcro on the back of this and stuck it up on the wall where they couldn't get to it. And then it would kick off with whatever timer you set or when the battery died. So pro there is it's nice to have. It can kind of go anywhere. It's just a little bit of light. This would be really good for like a pump house or a well house, something like that where, you don't have any power out there for a light bulb, but you want a little solar power in case the power did go out. So if you had power and you're trying to go out and hook a generator to your well, this would be a good idea for that. I like these. There is the con though that you have to have the remote all the time. So because it's getting dark so quick, the next one's going to be hard to see until we get to where it kicks on. And so this is a negative. It's darker under this roof than it is out here with the solar panel. And that's the eye that it goes off of for the sunlight. So these don't come on until it gets dark. And the solar panel obviously is still lit a little bit with illumination in the sky. It's really musky and it's just been gray all day here. We're about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and so we're getting dark at 5:45. But underneath here, it's really dark. And so this light that I'm going to show you is in this cattle barn area, right? I really like this one. It's really bright. The solar panel is probably an 8x12 little teeny solar panel. It came with like 50 foot of wire. I really like it. I haven't had any problems with this one, but it has a setting that's like 25%, and I really like that. All right, so I know you can't see me now, but for this light, this solar one that's in here where the cows are, I really like this because it's just kind of a dim glow where the cows lay, and it doesn't go off real easy. It is super bright once I get underneath here and I start to make a motion. It really brightens this area up. So we've got this ready for winter, you know, but it's just kind of a nice little glow where the calves and cows can kind of see each other at night underneath this place. And that is the second one that you saw. And then as you come out here, you can kind of tell a little bit better on this video how bright it is. Now, if I was thinking about a light bulb, like actual electricity, like a 90 watt replacement is about the same as that one. And it seems like it's big. It ought to be much brighter than that. But one or two bulbs with electricity would be better than what this thing is here. But if you don't have power, like we said, you know, it does the job. That light is the same as 190, maybe 260s if I would expect, because it does those arms. You can kind of angle how you want them. And so it's nice to have out here. I really like the low glow factor of it with animals. And so I'll show you that one. I've had good luck with it. It's good. It would be good for a hay loft or someplace if you just had to park a car in where there was no electricity. It would be good for all those things. But I really like that feature for the animals of just like a 30% low light. And it lasts a good 8-12 hours on that low light setting. The next one is, and I'm gonna show you the solar panel on this one. The solar panels are all about the same. And so I've put the solar panel right there. It's like 8x12, right? And you can see it's two lights. And they're probably 6-inch in diameter pucks. They are very low light, and this is the low light setting. The camera doesn't really do it justice. It's just enough to walk in here, and then when it kicks on. The light sensor on this model, I believe, is in the light because they come on a little earlier than the other ones, but the motion sensor is also in the center of that light. What I don't like about this one is I can't change how long they were on. You see, just in 30 seconds, it kicked back off. But if you had a little shed, which is what I've got here where our hay is at, now, I got power right there. How lazy am I that I can't wire a light up? It was just, we didn't have all this wiring fixed yet. We had to fix everything at this farm. And so the very first year I threw these up and I've left it up. But I have had issues with this model as well. This model was bad directly out of the box. I got it, it didn't work. I don't know if it was something in the connection or something in the light itself. Same thing. Went on Facebook or Amazon, put a negative comment. I'm usually pretty polite with my negative comments, but I just kind of tell the truth. And the customer or the seller, I contacted them because it was brand new out of the box. I said, hey, I got this. It doesn't work. No problem, sir. If you could take a video. I showed them the video of me pushing the remote and all the stuff, and it didn't come on. Within 4 days, I had another one here at the house. Now, that being said, the first one didn't work, but these have worked for 1.5 years now, okay? In fact, I can wire lights in. I've actually wired some outlets in here that I plug my truck into, but I haven't wired lights because these are kind of working right now. The plan is to put some lights in here eventually, but these solar lights are working pretty good. It's been 1.5 years. They're lightweight, so if I would happen to hit them with a bale of hay, they just kind of swing. I just put them on a little hook. So I screwed in a hook, an eyelet hook, and hung them up there. Same thing. Wires are pretty thin, but you know, mice, nothing like that's chewed through them. Use some normal house electrical staples. I like the plastic ones with the 2 little teeny nails so that they don't break the wires. And they're bright enough. It's really nice in the winter when I come in here with a tractor with a fork on it to get a round bale and go and feed. I've got this big pole light out here, but it doesn't really shine underneath this shed. Once I get more than, this is the very first ring. So tonight I used my very first bale off of our load. And this thing, there's 100 round bales in here. So we've got 65 feet deep of these things. And it gets dark back in there, okay? If you happen to have to feed in the winter or whatever. And so these lights are really nice for that. And you can see they're pretty bright. The camera, I think, is doing justice. If what I'm seeing on the screen here, this is about what you're gonna see. It's pretty bright. And so I'm really happy with this style of light. And this would be very good. I've actually recommended these to a friend who has a bay, a lean-to like this for his camper. And so he's never hardly in there. He doesn't want to wire it all up just for the camper. But when he goes in to check his camper out, these two lights are in there, or when he's backing his camper in. And so I thought these were pretty good for that kind of a setting. Are they worth it? It was worth it for me for the experiment. It's definitely worth it if you're off grid. I think it's definitely worth it if you don't have power someplace. You build a shed for hay, or you're using a greenhouse hoop. I could really see it working well in like one of those hoop structure barns that you're using for a greenhouse, and you might have chickens or pigs in it in the winter. You don't have a lot of electricity out there perhaps, unless you have blowers and all that stuff. But anyways, it's a good opportunity for those kind of things. It's a good solution for those kind of things. If you have any kind of wiring skills whatsoever, I would say it's probably better to wire. Get you some light bulb holders, simple plastic case. Most people say you got to have it in conduit, but you can use underground Romex. You can use Romex that's already got wire wrapped around it. And you're going to spend a little bit more money than this. You're going to have to change light bulbs. But I think these light bulbs are going to go bad too. But if you want something quick, it's literally 2 screws and a handful of wire staples and 2 eyelets, which you probably don't need. You can hang these on a screw. They do have a nice little hook. You can do this quick. If you need light quick and you don't have anything else, you don't have power, this is a good solution or a temporary fix. If I wire this barn in with lights, I can take these down, I can move them. It's not a big deal. That being said, on the negative side, they are not as bright as an electrical powered light. If you have a normal 90-watt light or a motion light, that thing lights up this whole yard, and it was like $40 at Lowe's. It's on a 20 amp breaker with a normal wiring, just motion light. I love motion lights. They don't stay on unless you need them. So there's a lot of effect there. But if you don't have power, this is a good solution. The other thing about wiring electrical stuff, to solve the problem I had with my cattle, where I really like that low light feature, you can buy a dimmable switch. Okay, so it is more expensive. I think dimmable switches are about twice the amount of your typical 15 amp cheap $4 switch. But with LEDs, most LED light bulbs now with the technology that we have are dimmable. So throw you a dimmable switch on there if you like that feature, turn your light on, dim it down. Honeywell, they're expensive. Those switches from Honeywell that have timers and dimmables in them, those switches are expensive, but you can't even get one that has a timer. You can get a motion detected switch. So you can do these features that you think are cool, you can do it with electricity. But when you look at the price of one of those $40 Honeywell switches with a timer setting, it's got dimmable, all those things, you could buy this and be done. It has the lights and everything in it, and it's solar. So we're back in the shop. You can definitely see electrical lights. These are the bar lights or whatever. They're 8-foot LED. I think they're 5,000 lumen or 5,000 Kelvin. Anyways, in a shop setting, this is not your solution, okay? You're gonna want a lot of bright light. I don't have my ceiling painted and my big high bay lights in yet, but you're gonna want something big like that. But there's a lot of places that I would recommend and use these again. So if I bought one of these containers, shipping containers, you can buy a shipping container for $3,000. You can put some animals in it. You can store feed in it, whatever. And you don't need a lot of electricity, or you don't have electricity. These solar lights are a good option. The light bulb ones where you have a remote, when they come in a pack of 2, that same remote works both lights, even though it does have 2 remotes so you can split them. So if you hit that one, it would turn on both light bulbs. That's a good setting for one of those containers, I think. I would hang 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 of these things up in there. You could have light in there for your chickens or your brooder or your feed storage or whatever you're using them for. And you don't have to run electricity and tie into those things. It's quick, it's cheap, it's fast. I don't know how long they're gonna last. I've had them a year and a half. I think it's a good enough to give you the advice and to show it to you. Are they gonna last 20 years? I don't think a normal LED light bulb is going to. The barn light, it had a 10-year warranty on it. So we'll look at that box here in a second. I'm pretty, satisfied with that. I would rather do that than have my light pole where I have to call my local power company to come out and fix and those things. I like the solar fact of it. If I was building a brand new farm, I could build a shed to put tools and my tractor and stuff in while I'm building a farm, put a couple of these up, spend a couple $100. Before I even had power ran, I could have light there, let people know there's work going on there, and to see until I had power ran. It's a good solution. Let's look at this box. So this is the box for that big pole light. It's a new design. My others didn't have these small cells. They were just 2 big long bars. And as I look here, it says 2-year warranty. So I might have misspoke about that 10-year warranty. You just got to kind of read and see what you're getting. I'm going to open this up now, and I want to show you what I would alter if you're going to put one of these big barn lights up. So this thing is every bit of 25, 30 pounds. It's a decent weight to be handled on a bar, right? It sticks up. It's supposed to be up at the 30-degree angle. It does have this other bracket that you can put it on a pole. If you were to set a pole, I would recommend like a telephone pole or a barn like I did. Get it as high as you can. You'll get as much light as you can. And I actually doubled this up. So I took this bracket like this, I took this one backwards, and I put it in it when I put my lag bolts into my barn. It's bending and warping right here, even with this doubled up. And this bar is actually bending down because you can see how thin the gauge is. I've got vacuum hoses that are thicker than this. And so I'm gonna completely redo this. I'm gonna go to work and get some tubing, probably 1/8 inch. If we have some scrap stuff that's thicker, I'll get thicker, just making sure I'm gonna stick to the right diameter. I like the length, it's fine, maybe a little longer, but the longer it is, the harder it is to install. And then I'll weld a metal plate on the end here with some gussets, some little triangles to help brace it up. And I'm gonna make my own pipe the next time I set that up there, because I was very unsatisfied with this. Now, you could take and slide something in here and make it thicker. It does have a hole down at this end, so you could run you a thicker pipe inside of this if you had the right pipe. There's all kinds of things you do, but I would probably recommend, if you have the ability to weld and buy an own pipe, I would chuck this and redo this. But this is what it comes with, and it did work for quite a while. It took about a year for that thing to start sagging. But that's the one thing I would change about these, is that you can see that gauge of that in the camera there. It's really thin. The other thing that I'm gonna change, and I used what they sent me last time. They send you these grade 2 bolts, okay? So if you're putting a piece of board behind it and you're using these grade 2 bolts, you can tell they're from China. The nuts are thinner, the washers are paper thin. Chuck those things. I just throw them in the trash. They might fix a kid's bike, but or something. They're not gonna hold anything. Go to, I use Rule King a lot. They have really nice bolt bends. Buy some grade 8. So at Rule King, the grade 8 bolts are bluish tint. They're a heavier grade bolt. I'm gonna buy grade 8 lag bolts because I'm screwing directly into the framing of the barn there with a big wood plate that I put in. But I would, look at the tool they sent you. So you can tell it's not beefed up. You want your own tools, throw their crap in the trash. It's Chinese cheap hardware. But the light itself, I'm gonna be just as happy, I think, as I was. So I like the idea of this light. And I think if you could find an American-made light, I would maybe spend a little bit more money on it. Here is the company and the brochure for this one, which all these links will be down in the description. And you can see they've installed it on a pole, which looks kind of like fencing of some sort. It does give you good descriptions on how to do it all. I think it said hang it 12 feet high. Put that sucker as high as you can. It's not gonna be, not light enough at the bottom. Get a good high wattage one. spend the extra $20 and you're going to double your wattage. Those are some of my recommendations with this. So there you have it. Well, I hope this video helped you. It is unadulterated, sometimes rude opinions of this stuff. I don't, care anything about these companies. I am the customer. They are the vendor. And so if the vendor does not provide me with good quality stuff, I'm definitely going to tell you about it. And you've heard both sides. I try to do both sides of it. Would I do this again? Do I think it's worth it? And I'm going to tell you, obviously, you've heard the pros and cons about where I would put them and why I would put them there. If I build something away from power, I'm going to put these in. If I go build a shed out in the woods for hay storage or for cattle, that's far away, I'm definitely going to buy more of these. I'm definitely going to buy more lights. We are putting in a pond with a solar pump to pump out of the pond. They will definitely have some solar lights, one at the pond and two inside the pump house. And so I'm going to use these again, even though you've heard I've had some trouble with them. Well, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. There is one here right at the end, and we will see you next time.
Bark, bark, bark.